What's up, y'all? Welcome to another episode of Sistas in Crime with SistasinCrimewithShiandToy. Y'all already know my name, but for the ones who are new watching, my name is Shy, and that's short for Shamia.
And my name is Toy. That is short for Latoya. I messed that up last week.
But that's okay. No, that's okay. Ain't nobody gonna check you about it.
Definitely ain't.
But y'all,
Definitely ain't.
but welcome back to another episode, y'all. So I hope everybody's week is going well. We are approaching Friday. I know everybody's excited about that. I know I am. I love my weekends to relax and unwind and do something fun. Do something for me. I
I
know
don't.
y'all feel the same way.
I'm excited, but I ain't dead excited because I got a paper due. But it's kind of my fault because I'm a procrastinator. But
But you always
anyway,
get it
I
done.
get it done and get
That,
A's. So
yep.
hey,
It's all look. That's all that matters. That is
period.
all that matters.
But I think I'm gonna take myself to dinner though. But I
That
said
would
I
be
am
nice.
not. I said I will not go
Yeah.
get that cheesecake. Listen, I've been in
Oh,
the gym. I
yeah.
cannot do that.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then no. So I'm talking to
Yeah.
myself. No, Toya,
Yeah.
I cannot.
That sounds lovely, but I feel you. I,
Ah,
I vowed to myself that
I
when
can't
I
do it.
had it that last time, it would be probably April before I went back.
I think maybe a once a month thing. I think I can do a once a month thing.
Not as a newbie, not for me. Like I need to wait. I need to get completely engulfed in my journey
I
so that
love that though because my thought process is so toxic. I'll be like, I'm gonna go to the gym so that I can eat something crazy tonight.
no.
But don't do that, y'all. Don't do what I do. Okay?
No, because in my mind, I got to get deep into the
Yeah.
journey first because I feel like something like that will just like turn me in a different direction. So
Yeah.
that's why I have to, like, all right, girl, we're going to stick to it. I've been, everything been going good. So I'm just trying to sound it. But yes, that turtle cheesecake had me in a
Mm.
chokehold.
Listen.
And we're not talking about no Miss Edwards either.
That is which one I got last time. I normally get the Biscoff, but last time I got the banana pudding.
Yeah, it
The
was,
only thing I didn't care for is they have bananas in their banana pudding,
yep,
but I don't like I don't, when I have cookie pudding when I make it, but
yeah.
it was still so good. Oh my
It
god.
was.
So
It was.
I'm trying to don't do like me, y'all. Just don't do what I do.
No,
But you know what? I'm still cuz and the reason I say that is cuz I could have progressed way more than I have if I had just changed my eating habits, which I'm halfway there. So I
mhm,
halfway eat good, and
mhm.
then for dinner I don't usually.
Yeah.
So I eat good all day until dinner time. So,
But I'm working
but
on changing like the amount of food I eat
yeah,
in different meals, right? So I'm trying to eat more in the morning,
hmm
smaller at lunch, and then much smaller in dinner just to like change that around. I hear that works.
see, we are the exact opposite
Yeah.
because I do small for breakfast, which is usually a protein shake.
Yeah.
Small for lunch, which I may have like a smoothie or some
Yeah.
yogurt, and then I do it big for
Yeah.
dinner.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
Well,
do
I'm
it
working
big.
on that. It doesn't always happen that way because sometimes I just wake up and I'm not hungry. And like when I'm not hungry, I just do not force myself to eat
I
at
don't
all.
be hungry in the morning,
Yeah, I don't.
but I just have a protein shake because it's like, or if I am hungry, I don't know what I want to eat. Like I don't want a biscuit. I don't want my main go to is oatmeal,
Yeah.
and that's problematic as well. I love oatmeal in the morning, especially McDonald's oatmeal with one of their dollar coffees.
I've never had their I've heard their oatmeal is good though.
I've been
Yeah.
hooked like phonics for years.
See,
They oatmeal.
see, I'm not an oatmeal person. Uh-uh.
I wasn't either until I had their oatmeal.
Oh,
I
really?
ordered that oatmeal with no raisins. It comes with apples and has like a cinnamon taste to it. It's so
Okay. You make
if
one.
y'all watching, you know what I'm talking about. If you eat oatmeal at McDonald's, they was the same way with them parfaits. They if
Hmm.
they don't got nothing else right, the
Right.
oatmeal is hidden, slapping.
Right. Right. Well, you gonna make me try it now. I'm not a McDonald's breakfast person, honestly.
That's all I
So
get. I don't
Yeah.
care about nothing else on that menu. That's
Yeah.
how I was with the chicken wraps. That's how I was with the parfaits. Right now, I don't care about nothing on that menu but that oatmeal.
Yeah.
And they coffees be slapping too sometimes.
Right.
That's it. I could care less about anything else McDonald's got going on, but they better not ever discontinue that oatmeal.
Yeah. I hear it's popular. I haven't tried it. I'm gonna have to try it now. But look,
Absolutely.
but look at us already talking about oatmeal and all that stuff. It's all
We
good though.
ain't even get into the case yet.
No, but it's fine. I think it's all a part of the conversation. We gotta have
Yeah.
fun. It's supposed to be fun. It's not about murder and being all dreary and all that stuff. Like we're fun people. We like to have fun. We
If
have a
y'all
lot of
ain't figured that out by
energy.
now,
Yeah, stuff like that. So y'all, thank y'all for tuning in. So today we do have a murder case. This is the case of Mr. Lance Herndon. So this is an interesting it's an interesting case. Um saw this episode on Murder in the Thirst. I think that's what it's called. Um,
yep.
it was a show on BT that I had no clue about. I think I ran across it recently on Paramount Plus, and I was like, "What is this?" So I started watching it, and his
Child,
case was like one of the first or second ones. I was like, "Oh my god!"
I ain't
But
never knew nothing about that either. You had to tell me.
yeah, I was like, "Oh, okay." So, but it was a good episode. But we gonna talk about the case. Y'all can go watch the episode, but you can find all the information right here. You don't have to go watch it. It's gonna be right here.
Buckle in.
So y'all, if y'all haven't, well, first I just ask y'all to hit that like button so we can continue to get the videos out, so other people can tune in and watch us, and people in the true crime community who love true crime like we do, to have more people join us and watch and have fun. We also have a after show in which we talk about current events. No politics or anything like that. Mainly drama and funny stuff, really.
The
Or
tea.
like, or tea, or like topics that we talk about. Just like real life topics and stuff like that. So if you're not really into true crime, we do have other options like that too. For the ones who that's more of your swing. So um you can follow us on TikTok, Sisters in Crown with Shine Toy on YouTube and TikTok. We are also on Instagram. Of course, TikTok and Instagram are for more like small clips. So if you don't want to watch a full video and you just want to watch little tidbits, of course, you can follow us on both platforms. So I'm going to kick us off today with a little background about Mr. Lance Herndon. Now, this case took place in Atlanta. Mr. Herndon was very, very, very popular down there in Atlanta. Of course, I was very young, so I mean, I wouldn't have known about him. But in the '90s, he was very popular in Atlanta. So Lance Herndon was deemed a self-made millionaire. He came from, they report, a humble upbringing. He had a good home, but a humble upbringing. Very hardworking class family. Like I think he was raised by his grandparents, but very hardworking people. And I can tell based off, his work ethic and things that we're going to talk about later on, that he was a very hardworking man and very disciplined. And, he liked to live a certain lifestyle, and, he understood the science of getting to the bag and working hard. And that was admirable, how hard he worked. So Lance, he ended up getting into the tech industry. He was ended up being invited to, I believe it was Clinton's White House business conference in 1995, where he was recognized as one of the entrepreneurial upcoming stars. So that was a very high honor. To be a younger, entrepreneur, that was a very high honor. So he was from New York, lived with his grandparents in Virginia. He went to City University in New York, where he got a bachelor's in computer science. In the '80s, he relocated to Atlanta and started his journey on building his company called Access Inc. So he built it from the ground up, the entire department. Um, I remember, some of the ladies on it. Well, one of the ladies, I think she was his assistant. She said
Yeah.
he used to have a message for them every day, the whole team, right? They talked about how he had multiple alarms. He did not believe in being late. He had multiple alarms. I think they said he had probably 4 alarms by his bedside, to make sure. But that just let you know that was a dedicated man and he had a vision. So he was not
Mhm.
playing. So his business quickly grew to become one of the largest computer like consulting firms in the Southeast. So it, it grew fairly quickly. So all right, so Mr. Lance. So we're gonna get into a little bit of his personal life. So Mr. Lance was known as a playboy. All right, basically in today's terms, what what we would say in the 90s, that's but what we say is he had a roster. All right, so reportedly, he used to cycle women. um Before he married his wife, her name was Janine Price. I think allegedly they said he had been married 2 or 3 times, even before he married Janine. Now, Janine is significant because they got married and that's who he had his son by. Okay. So, that's why, there was not a lot of details about his previous marriages. It's just really Janine. But him and Janine had a son that got married. Reported they was happy, but, you know, Lance just couldn't stay out the life. He loved to have a roster. So he ended up cheating on Janine. She found out. She wasn't, no disrespect to anybody, but she wasn't one of those women to stick around and say, you know what, I'm gonna stick around. We're gonna work this out. She was out the door the moment it started. She was like, oh no. So it didn't take Lance long to rebound because the lady who he was cheating on Janine with, he just moved her right on in there after Janine left. So it was like no downtime at all. But reports did say, of course, that he still took care of Janine, took care of their son. He was still a great father and everything. So yeah, Lance was a player, you know, and unfortunately that, led to, unfortunately his demise, which you will learn about in this case. But not only was Lance, even though he moved his mistress in, he still had other women. So allegedly he had an affair with his assistant, but they, described his affair with his assistant more fun than anything. Wasn't
Mhm.
really serious. It was just more fun. So, she was really close to him though. She had like a key. I think his office, the um company office was like at the bottom of the house, I believe. But I think she was the only one, the assistant was the only one who had access to his actual house, I believe.
Mhm.
So they were close, they were fairly close. But he continued to have a roster. Now, I'm going to set up the scene before my sister takes over. So Lance has a 41st birthday party. So apparently, this was supposed to be the event in Atlanta. Everybody, the who's who of Atlanta was supposed to be coming. So Lance invites, of course, the wealthy, social people in Atlanta during that time, for his party, and everybody knew of Lance and were excited to go. So a young gal named Dion Ball, she was working for a company, and the company was invited, but she decided to accept the invitation and not, I guess, not give it to the company like she was supposed to. She kept the invite for herself and thought she was just gonna weasel her butt up in the party, like so, and
Plotting.
plotting. So here we are, and here is where she meets Lance. So y'all, I'm gonna let my sister take over now to get into the remainder of the story.
Yes. So Dion was 27, so she was a little young thing compared to Lance. He was in his 40s. I think it was like 41, if I'm not
Mm-hmm,
mistaken. So,
mm-hmm.
sugar daddy vibes, right? Um Dion was she was an executive assistant for MARTA, which is the Metropolitan Atlanta Rapid Transit Authority. She Now the thing about Dion, she was technically married at the
Not
time.
technically, she was married,
She
right?
was married.
Yeah.
At the time, her and Lance started fooling around.
With a
Um,
child, married with a child.
and had a baby, okay? But they were in Jamaica, man.
Yeah.
So so she was married to Sean Nelson, who was a pilot for Air Jamaica. And, they lived in Jamaica. He was there primarily with their daughter, Amanda, while she stayed in Atlanta to complete her college education. That's what she's supposed to be doing, right?
Right.
So they described her as, petite, polished, and she
Mhm.
had like a taste for finer things. Now, the problem with that is she only made $21,000 a year. That was her
Mhm.
salary.
Mhm.
But her coworkers and stuff, when she started dating Lance, I can't even say when she started dating Lance because she was dating some other people too. So basically, while she made $21,000 a year, her outfit would cost like no less than $1,000, the whole
Mhm.
outfit, and
Mhm.
she never wore the same thing twice.
Mhm.
Okay, Lance was very much fulfilling that sugar daddy role, honey. He was providing her with credit cards. She was driving luxury cars.
Mhm.
So, she become accustomed to this lifestyle.
Mhm.
Now, there was a situation where she appeared at Lance's house. Lance becoming tired of her anyway. She appeared at Lance's house and he was there with another woman. She was bamming, knocking on the door. He would not let her in. So he ended up having to call the police on him. So that was July the 10th. And she made a scene because he was there with this other woman. And, police were called and they sent her away, but she came back the following morning. So he had to call the police again, and this time they arrested her for a misdemeanor charge of criminal trespass. So, even after that, they still saw each other a little bit on and off, but he was really trying to end things with Dion. But still, he continued to give her money on a regular basis, and she was driving his Mercedes Benz. So, um, I don't know how you trying to break it off if you still funding her lifestyle, but okay. So basically, on August the 8th, which is like what, a month after this incident,
Mhm.
um, you know, Lance does not show for work, which, as my sister said, he was very prompt, very on time, had a vision, did not play when it came to his company.
Mhm.
So, his mom went to his house to see what's up. Like, that's what mama
Mhm.
gonna do, right?
Mhm.
And unfortunately, she discovered him deceased in his home. So his nude body was found partially covered with a sheet in his waterbed in the master bedroom suite. His head had been crushed by repeated blows from a blunt instrument. Now they never recovered the murder weapon, excuse me, but the medical examiner later said they suspected it could have been a large crescent wrench. There were
Mhm.
no defensive wounds to his body whatsoever, so that led detectives to believe that he was asleep when this happened because he was lying on his back with his arms folded across his chest, which they say that's the position that he usually slept in, according to those that knew him. They had to rule out burglary. It was easy to rule that out because his wallet as well as his credit cards were found untouched on a dresser in the bedroom. Um, but the shirt and pants that he had wore the evening before were missing. Now, when
Mhm.
they go to the bathroom, they notice that a bloody pillowcase was found in the toilet, which they think, the whoever killed Lance used it to wipe off blood after the attack. Now, the most telling thing, like my sister said, Lance had a lot of alarms. Okay, he had 3 alarm clocks. All of them were unplugged.
Mhm.
And Lance would have never done that because they said he habitually rose as early as 4 or 4:30 in the morning every single morning. So he would set all 3 of these alarm clocks. Plus the phone that was beside the bed was also unplugged. Now, remember I said he was found in his waterbed. I don't know what kind of waterbed that is because waterbeds were popular in the 80s. I feel like he's
Yes.
a little out of touch with that. I don't know why he wanted a waterbed.
I
But
mean, but I knew people who had water beds in the 90s, though.
you did?
Mhm.
Okay, well, he had a waterbed, y'all. And
I don't
they
understand the significance of them. Like, I don't.
I mean, I will say my great grandmother had a waterbed in her home, and I remember us just playing on it when I was a child.
Yeah.
But realistically speaking, like, who would want to lay in there? I would be so scared it's gonna pop and
Yeah.
bust it, and who gonna clean all that water up? I ain't.
Nah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So those water beds are heated because if you think about it, your water getting cold, it's gonna be real uncomfortable for you laying on. So the water beds are heated. This did not work in his favor for the simple fact that because it was heated, they were not able to determine an exact time of death. They
Yeah.
said that it could have occurred between 6 and 8 hours by the time his body was discovered. So, and he was discovered about 10 o'clock in the morning. So it could have been occurred like maybe 2 o'clock in the morning, 1, 2 in the morning or something like that.
Hmm.
So that was the thing because his body never fell below 87 degrees because
Mm-hmm.
of that. Now, because remember we just a month prior we had this altercation with Dion. So
Hmm.
they immediately suspect her because
Hmm.
they know, she had that um what's the word I'm looking for? That misdemeanor
Yeah.
for trespassing on his property after the police had came out the day before. So, they didn't have enough, unfortunately, at the time to warrant an arrest, but they did keep an eye on her. So they went to question her kind of immediately after they found Lance, but nobody ever came to the door when they were knocking on her door. So then they went to the neighbors. Now, the neighbor, and they talked to the neighbor. And when they left, the neighbor notified them that when they left, Dion came next door talking to her to see what they wanted. So, girl, you ain't smart about this. Ain't you in college?
Hmm.
Okay.
Hmm. Hmm.
So, according to the neighbor, Dion said that she was in the shower when the police had knocked. But the neighbor was like, they didn't believe that because she was wearing a business suit. Her hair was dry and she was full daytime makeup. Like, if you gonna lie, make it believable.
Right.
So, like, girl, what? So
Right.
then she got in her car and drove away, which I'm pretty sure was Lance's car because she been driving that Benz for a while now.
Hmm.
And at the time, the neighbor notified the police she had left, and then they came to wait on her to return. So after about 20 minutes, they get there. Dion comes back home, and then when they tell about what happened to Lance, she immediately goes into the dramatics and she collapsing and she fainting and hysterical. But they said the whole time with no tears nowhere. So she put on this performance, but there was no actual show of emotion because there was not a single tear that fell.
Right.
If you can't cry on cue, you ain't got no business murdering your lover.
No. No.
Okay.
Mm. Yeah.
So when police interviewed her that afternoon, she denied knowing anything about his death. She didn't know nothing about it. And then she told the police that she had drove her husband and daughter to the airport that evening the day before because they had been visiting her from Jamaica. So she said that Lance briefly came to her house between 9 p.m. and 10:30 p.m. the night before his body was discovered, and he brought her his laptop computer, which he would sometimes let her borrow, and
Hmm.
then he left. And that's the last she supposedly saw of him. And she stuck to this story for a while, and she said that their relationship was solid and they was truly in love. But when the police investigated, they found different versions of events the other people were saying that was not matching up
Hmm.
to what she was saying. Like, because
Right.
my thing is, you so in love, but he just had to call the police on you a couple weeks ago.
Yeah. Yeah. The math
I
ain't
ain't
math.
never been in love and somebody called the police on me.
No. She ain't Nikki Parker, and you hear me?
You're not, okay? She thought evidently you listen. Evidently, I ain't even gonna say that. I ain't even gonna say that. She thought she was pressure, but evidently you wasn't. Okay, because he done called the Pope. He done called the Pope on you. So finally January of 1998. So we like a year and a few months after the fact. The police caught a break in the case, and Dion at this time was in the process of getting a divorce from her husband. At the time, her husband kind of suspected she was doing some stuff she had no business. He wondering where all this money come from, this, that, and the third. So they going through a divorce, and they learned that Dion had told her mother-in-law Barbara a few weeks after the murder that she admitted to it, saying
Mhm.
that she had been to his house, even though she told the police she hadn't. So ding
Yeah.
ding 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 ding.
Yeah.
Okay. Um,
Because it make
get
you
your
wonder. You say you weren't at the house. At first you claim you were doing this, that, and the fourth. Now you're claiming you're at the house. So you've already put yourself in the scene. But that
yes.
just like validates that. We watch a lot of crime shows, but this is all the time. If it's like the killer has to like talk to somebody about it.
Has to
Not that
tell
she was doing
somebody.
yeah, not that she was doing like a full blown confessional, but she has to like tell somebody like, well, I
Hmm.
was at the house. I was like, girl, what are you
If you
doing?
gonna
Like,
call
why are you
anybody, you better talk to God.
exactly? Ooh,
I'm
mm,
not giving you no tips on how to murder, but I'm just saying, yeah, keep your mouth closed.
yep,
Like, cause it's like it's the police. They gon' well, I ain't gonna say that. I was gonna say they gon' cross their T's and dot their I's, but they have dropped the ball in several cases before, so that
yeah,
don't always
yeah,
happen. But anyway, in this case,
yeah,
they was on it. You done killed a millionaire, girl.
yep.
They own it. So after that, they arrested her, charged her with malice murder, felony murder, aggravated assault, and 2 counts of theft by taking in financial transaction card fraud. So she was facing life in prison. Now, on April the 17th, 2001, the jury found her guilty on all 6 counts. But while the jury was deliberating, her defense lawyer, which I don't know if I'm saying this right, Gear Quinn, he made a notion for a mistrial because y'all, the prosecutor, Clint Rucker, was not licensed to even practice in Georgia. So guess what?
Mm,
They accepted that appeal, and he said like it was true. He simply failed to pay his bar association dues, talking about, it was an oversight and he was completely embarrassed by the situation. So, dropped the ball. Like I said, they do okay. They dropped the ball between the police and these prosecutors and attorneys and lawyers and stuff. The
mm.
DA, if they don't do nothing else, they'll drop a ball. So, so, the mistrial was denied and she was originally sentenced to life in prison, but that changed because they were able to successfully appeal her case July 10, 2003. And that was because the Georgia State Supreme Court found that hearsay testimony by lead investigator William Anastasio had been erroneously admitted during the trial. So he had been allowed to testify to statements made to him by Lance's employees as well as girlfriends and Dion's mother in law, and compared those statements to information that was given by Dion. Drop the ball.
Yep.
So now they go back to trial and declared a mistrial on November the 8th of 2003 simply because the jury was deadlocked. So they tried again. So this is her third trial. And this time, I guess she just tired of going through it. So this time, Dion pleads guilty to voluntary manslaughter on September 27th, 2004. So how many years after the fact? He was killed in when, 98
I thought it was
or
98,
96?
96. I think it's
96.
96. Yeah.
So this 8 years after the fact.
Mm-hmm.
Now at this time, she was sentenced to 10 years in prison.
Mm-hmm.
However, She ended up being released in July 2011, so that was 7 years, almost 7 years after she was sentenced. And once she was released, she was to do 10 years probation. Now, the girl been off the radar since getting out, and I don't blame her. So she's now off probation too. But allegedly, sources think she's still in Georgia. However, some people think, she lived in Florida for a short period of time and lived in Kansas for a short period of time. But and I don't know, I wasn't able to find anything regarding her husband and her daughter Amanda, so I don't know the situation there. Like,
Mhm.
but she has been flying under the radar and keeping a very, very, very low profile. She has no social media presence or anything like that. So, but
I
10
mean,
years
unless
and
she
then you only
like,
serve 7 for killing this man,
yeah,
I think is gross negligence, but that's just me.
yes, violently killing a man while he's sleeping.
Violently. He
Um,
didn't, he wasn't even able to defend himself.
yeah. And ma'am, over a man though, you know what I mean? Like for the fact that you wouldn't be able to live that lifestyle that you were getting accustomed to. The thing is though, when you're with a man like Lance, in my opinion, like when you're with a man like that, you're not married or anything like that. You have like nothing.
It
Like these
never gave
gifts are nice,
relationship.
and this lifestyle's nice, all that's great, but you are on rocky ground. You are on rocky ground. You don't have no foundation. Like he can come and say like he did. I mean, it was honestly your fault. I mean,
Yeah.
honestly, like, how crazy you were acting, and he thought it was a good package, she had the body, they said she was fun, and all the things he liked.
Hmm.
But he turned out she was nothing like he thought she was, and then so he decided to you know
And I
not do
forgot
it.
to mention,
Hmm.
she doing all this to keep their lifestyle going. Whole time Lance was bankrupt.
Yeah,
Lance was broke
they said he was going broke. He really didn't have the money like
because
that.
he was spending so much money on these women. He was
Yeah,
going broke
he was going broke. So you killed this man
for
for nothing.
nothing.
For
For
nothing.
nothing. Like that's probably another reason why he was trying to cut it off because he couldn't continue to support you like that.
Yeah.
And he was driving his business into the ground. I know there gotta be some mad addiction to some punan for you to
Mm.
be driving
Well,
your business in the ground over these women.
that's what they were saying. They was like he just loved sex. Like he just loved women and
It's
sex.
giving
He just
addiction.
Yeah, it was like because imagine a man like that, he probably had access to a lot of them. And I will say, every woman that testified, and even down to Dion, beautiful, beautiful
Yeah,
women.
yeah.
Um,
Cause he,
so
when you got a little money, that introduce you to a different caliber of women.
yeah, that
You know what I
you
mean? You got a
unlock
little money
another.
on.
You're
You
right.
unlock a new level.
Yeah,
You
it's like
understand
a
what I'm
game.
saying? Cause he,
Exactly.
I mean, he wasn't ugly, but he wasn't that cute to me.
I mean, no, I mean, but granted, maybe like in the '90s, maybe, but like I guess right now, like
I mean, he might have been back then, but I
I
just
mean,
feel
I'm
like they
just
was with him
saying.
for his money, and he didn't mind spending it because he knew it was for his money.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, but but what was sad, to hear about his son, because his son was very young when he got killed,
Yeah,
and his son, he depends on his mom and family to, give him, you know, share with him his memories of his dad,
yeah.
telling him that. His dad loved him very much, took good care of him and stuff like that. And that's really sad. And to see this woman only get the short amount of time for killing his father so violently is disgusting to
Yeah,
me.
she got out early.
Um,
Like, what's the good behavior? Like, what?
and that blows my mind because for good behavior, these people get out. Like, can y'all not really like recognize bad behavior is what got them in there? So how does good behavior get them out? Like, what is good behavior? Like, I need to know.
Like,
Like, what does that mean?
I can only stand good behavior in drug offenses.
Oh yeah,
um Good behavior for murder, like, of
yeah,
course, because you don't really have that much access to murder behind bars. Like, so who's to say you're not? I mean, I know the goal of jail is rehabilitation, but let's be honest, that's not really how things are working in the United States. So who's to say that you're not gonna get out and reoffend? And not only that,
Hmm.
I like, was she even a U.S. citizen? Could they not have deported her back to Jamaica?
They probably could have. I
Or
don't
she may
know
have
about
had
her.
some type of visa or
She
something.
probably did. I mean, I assume with her working, and I assume with her working, in the U.S. I think, she
Yeah.
probably had like a working visa, maybe.
Yeah.
Her husband was also, he worked for the airlines, I think so. So that
Yeah,
might
that's
have
what I'm
been,
saying. He had to make pretty decent money.
yeah, yeah.
He was a
Well, it wasn't
pilot,
enough for her.
but it
It
wasn't
wasn't
enough
enough
for
for her.
her. Like, he
Yeah,
wasn't a millionaire like Lance, but he
yeah.
made good money as a pilot for Jamaican
Right,
Air.
right.
Like,
Yeah,
girl, was it worth it?
yeah.
If you watch this, girl, was it worth it?
Yeah, because now you got to spend the rest of your life in hiding because,
And I'm pretty sure your husband and your ex-husband and daughter don't want nothing to do with you. If I was Amanda, I wouldn't want nothing to do with you. I don't
yeah,
associate with
I,
murderers.
yeah, I did. I wondered about their relationship and if they keep in contact. But you know what, though? When people be like, oh, she don't have no social media and nothing like that, I doubt it. Like, they probably have
She out there
private
somewhere.
profiles and, like, with
She
no
out there.
picture. Yeah, she out there. It's really hard. I would, okay, well, no, because if you go to a secluded area where there's not many people, like if she went out there
Yeah.
to Wyoming, like Kanye be trying to go out to, where they
They
be
said
going.
she lived in Kansas for a brief period, so that's one of them places. Like,
Yeah,
no offense to nobody in Kansas, but it's not like New York or Florida or Atlanta or anything like that. Like,
like
you know what
well
I mean?
populated. I cannot fathom with this going on in Georgia that if that she went back to Atlanta for the. I
No.
cannot fathom that now.
They say she, but there are smaller rural parts of Georgia, so they suspect
That's
she's
true.
between Georgia and Kansas, maybe even Florida, but like probably in a very like less populated area.
Yeah,
So
she's
we don't
probably
know where
changed her
she
name
is.
and everything. Honestly.
I know what you look like though, unless you don't change your appearance too. I bet not
Hmm.
catch you out here in these streets,
Hmm.
cause I'm
But
sure
I
gonna
just
report and tell people where you at.
Yeah, I just wonder, like, you know, I don't know how people go into hiding because I'm like, how do you want, like, how do y'all like work? Like, are y'all working under different names? Like, are y'all buying?
Sometimes they change their whole identity, change their name and everything. She might not even be going by Dion Ball. She could very well be on social media, might not even be going by Dion Ball.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? Like, they
yeah,
disassociate just the same as with the families associated with people who offend like this.
yeah,
They'll, it could be that her husband and daughter have changed their identities and names so they're not associated or affiliated with her because that
right,
follows them too. Like, that's what I'm saying. Y'all got to think about the consequences of your actions. It's bigger than just you.
yeah, yeah,
Like, that impacts your ex-husband, your daughter, Lance's mama, his family, his son, his
yeah,
ex-wife, them other side chicks. Like,
yeah,
all y'all was sister wives, but
yeah.
with no ring.
But I'm gonna say the one thing that hurt me though was to hear his mom, hear about his mom finding his body like that. Because
Yeah,
as a mother, can you imagine, like,
traumatizing.
going in your son's home and seeing him in that condition?
Right.
Like I that is horrific. Like, I felt so horrible for her.
It sounds very traumatizing. I would not wish that on my worst enemy.
Yeah, yeah, that is awful. They were. I mean, I was just, oh, that just sent chills because I said that's so sad.
Yeah.
But I didn't hear any updates about his mom, like if she's still living or, or anything. Cause she did work for his company too. So I'm not
Mm.
sure.
This one was a little shorter. Like, it
Yeah.
wasn't a lot of updates, providing and stuff like that we can really go into. I didn't find any in my research either. So
Hmm. Yeah. But that is the case of Mr. Lance Herndon, y'all. So let us know what you think about this case. Like, your opinion, like, what do you think? Like, what do you think about Dion? What do you think? I mean, any aspect of the case, like, what do you think? Um, this case, we've heard about situations like this before, but we felt like it was interesting because, she did all of this stuff to get this man, killed him, and then ended up with nothing.
none at
So
all.
we felt like this case is very interesting. So, y'all, stay tuned for not other current events, wrong episode. Sorry. Y'all stay tuned for other cases that we are going to cover. We upload every Thursday. Currently we're at Thursday, but we have talked about switching the day.
Yeah.
Just because Thursdays are they're kind of hard, but we will keep y'all posted on that, y'all. Thank y'all so much for tuning in every week. Your support, whether you're on TikTok or you're on YouTube or you're on Instagram, thank you so much for your support. Y'all don't know what it means to us to support us. We just love true crime, and this is like very fun for us.
Very.
We have a lot of plans in the future to move forward and do things, just really build up our channel. So y'all, please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel, Sistas in Crime with SistasinCrimewithShiandToy, on, like I mentioned before, YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram. Please, our email is listed in the description box. So if y'all have cases that y'all find interesting that you want us to cover, or even current events, please send them to us. We'll be more than happy to review them and talk about them on our channel. But sis, you got anything you want to add?
Nah, that's it. Just
Okay.
keep it coming. We gonna come back with another banger. You know what I mean? As we always.
Well, y'all, thank y'all so much. Y'all have a great week. A great weekend. We will see y'all back next week. Much love. Mwah. Bye.
Bye.